democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Iran's government has accused Israel of assassinating senior Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in a missile strike near Tehran, raising fears of a broader regional war in the Middle East. According to Iranian media reports, Haniyeh was killed along with his bodyguard when a guided missile slammed into a residence north of the Iranian capital, where he was staying for the inauguration of the Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian. Before his assassination, Haniyeh played a central role in talks to exchange hostages and to negotiate a ceasefire with Israel. Israeli officials have not yet confirmed any involvement in Haniyeh's killing. However, the Israeli government press office posted a photo to Facebook of Haniyeh with the word "eliminated" over his face. The office later took down the photo. Iran's supreme leader condemned the assassination and promised, quote, harsh punishment against Israel in a statement read on Iranian state television.
The supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini, emphasized the criminal and terrorist Zionist regime with this action has paved the way for severe punishment for itself, and we consider it our duty to avenge the blood of he who was martyred in the land of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Hamas said Ismail Haniyeh's funeral will be held in Tehran on Thursday morning before his body is transferred to Doha, Qatar, for burial on Friday. The killing of Haniyeh came less than 24 hours after Israel claimed it had assassinated Fouad Shukr, a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut. The strike killed 3 civilians, including a woman, a girl, and a boy, and wounded 74 others. Hezbollah confirmed Shukr had been in the building at the time, but the group has not confirmed his fate. Israel had accused Shukr of being involved in Sunday's rocket attack that killed 12 Druze children in the occupied Golan Heights. Palestinian rescue workers in the Gaza Strip have collected dozens of bodies from the ruins of Khan Yunis after Israeli forces devastated the city during an 8-day ground assault. Health officials report the invasion killed 255 people and wounded more than 300 others. Dozens more remain missing. Meanwhile, the United Nations Human Rights Office warns in a new report Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails face widespread torture, sexual violence, and brutal treatment. The UN found at least 53 Palestinian detainees have died in Israeli custody since October 7th. Others face...
Hold on. Where we at?
torture, including waterboarding, sleep deprivation, starvation, electric shock, and the release of dogs. The UN says most of the Palestinian men, women, children, doctors, journalists, and human rights defenders jailed by Israel are being held without charge or trial in deplorable conditions. In Washington, D.C., dozens of interfaith activists Tuesday disrupted a gathering on Capitol Hill by members of the lobby group Christians United for Israel, or CUFA, one of the largest pro-Israel organizations in the United States with some 11 million members. The group's annual summit largely focuses on advocating for increased U.S. military support for Israel. Activists' annual summit largely focuses on advocating for increased U.S. military support for Israel. Activists blocked a bus transporting CUFA members from National Harbor in Maryland to Capitol Hill. Meanwhile, in a separate action, several activists took to the water in kayaks at National Harbor, just outside the hotel and conference site where CUFA members gathered. Protesters held a 28-foot banner that read, "CUFA kills," and Palestinian flags, as activists also denounced CUFA's ties to white nationalism. The government of France has formally recognized Morocco's claims of sovereignty over the Northwest African territory of Western Sahara. The decision announced by French President Emmanuel Macron on Tuesday is a major victory for the Moroccan king, Mohammed, and a setback to Western Sahara's indigenous people, the Sahrawi, who fought for decades to organize a UN-backed referendum on independence. Morocco's occupied Western Sahara since 1975 in defiance of the United Nations and international law. Over the past 4 decades, thousands of Sahrawi activists...
I wonder if the world has always been like this, or is it just now that I'm an adult and I'm like seeking this information? Because I don't know. Seems like everything's going crazy all at once at the same time.
Have been tortured, imprisoned, killed, or disappeared while resisting the Moroccan occupation. Ukraine's Air Force says it's repelled a major Russian drone attack, describing it as one of the largest aerial assaults in months. Officials in Kyiv say it was the 7th Russian attack on Ukraine's capital city this month alone. The Biden administration's pledged $500 million in new military aid to the government of the Philippines as the U.S. and its allies in the Asia-Pacific continue to ratchet up tensions with China. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced the deal after meeting in Manila with Philippines leader Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the presidential palace. Outside their talks, protesters burned a U.S. flag and condemned the military agreement.
We believe it will further the military intervention of the U.S. in the Philippines. It will lead to intensified basing of the U.S. in the Philippines. It will heighten tension in the region. The U.S. is putting forward an agenda that is contrary to our stand for peace and freedom in our country.
Nearly 1,000 children died while being forced to attend U.S. federal government boarding schools that sought to exterminate Native American identity, language, and culture. Those were the final findings of a groundbreaking report published Tuesday by the Interior Department, which for the first time in its history accounts for the U.S. government's role in the gruesome assimilation practices enforced at the schools. The report, which calls for a formal apology from the federal government, was commissioned by the first indigenous U.S. cabinet member, Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, whose grandparents were forced to attend boarding school starting at the age of 8.
Very cabinet agency created to assimilate indigenous peoples released a historic investigative report detailing the impact, trauma, and damage caused by federal Indian boarding schools from 1819 through the 1970s. This trauma is not new to indigenous people. One of the reasons I launched the Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative was to ensure that this important story was told, that all of America knows of the intergenerational impacts of these policies, and that we as a nation take steps to heal from them.
In Illinois, pressures mounting for Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell to resign over the fatal police shooting of 36-year-old Sonia Massey. Her family joined civil rights attorney Ben Crump in Chicago Tuesday to demand justice after a local police union announced it would not continue to challenge the firing of former Deputy Sean Grayson, who's also been charged with first-degree murder for killing Massey. The police union had previously represented Grayson and tried to get him reinstated. Crump spoke Tuesday as he called for police reform legislation in Massey's name.
We must continue to say her name, Sonia Massey. Sonia Massey. Because black women who are killed by police officers in the United States of America rarely get justice.
Meanwhile, CNN reports a newly surfaced audio recording reveals Officer Grayson was previously reprimanded another agency for filing an inaccurate report about a traffic stop in pursuit, with a superior officer warning Grayson that his report could have amounted to official misconduct and that he had lied. Prisoners in Florida, the largest federal prison complex in the United States, say they launched a hunger strike on Sunday to demand external intervention to address health and safety violations, abuse of power by guards, and denied visits. A man incarcerated at the Coleman Satellite Low Camp told Democracy Now! 30 people were moved to solitary confinement in response to the hunger strike and said they've since paused the protest. This comes as the Department of Justice investigation of Coleman led to more than a dozen arrests last week, including corrections officers charged with smuggling in drugs. Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris rallied thousands of supporters in Atlanta, Georgia, Tuesday, where she defended her support for harsher immigration and border enforcement policies. Harris compared her record to Donald Trump's and blamed the Republican presidential nominee for tanking a bipartisan bill that would have further militarized the southern border.
Our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it.
Oh, this lady does not
It was
look
all
60
set
years old.
to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate
Yeah, she kinda
to
does.
vote it down.
Selfie.
Right.
Harris has touted the recent endorsements of more than a dozen mayors in Arizona, a border state, including that of Republican John Giles of Mesa, who praised Harris's backing of the failed bipartisan bill, which immigration advocates say would have further eroded the rights of asylum seekers. And members of the National Association of Black Journalists are protesting their organization's decision to invite Donald Trump to the stage when the NABJ holds its annual convention and career fair in Chicago today. On Tuesday, Washington Post editor Karen Attiah stepped down as co-chair of the NABJ's convention, citing its decision to have Trump interviewed at the forum. He's being interviewed by 3 NABJ journalists. Bobby Henry, the chair of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which represents over 250 African-American-owned newspapers and media companies, condemned the NABJ's invitation to Trump, writing, quote, "His divisive rhetoric and actions have harmed marginalized communities, particularly the Black community. Allowing Trump a platform at this event undermines the NABJ's values of inclusion and solidarity and risks normalizing his damaging behavior," he said. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
Thank you, miss. Oh. Bro, tell me people can't even see my shit. Oh.
Newspapers and media companies condemned the NABJ's invitation to Trump, writing, quote, "His divisive rhetoric and actions have harmed marginalized communities, particularly the Black community. Allowing Trump a platform at this event undermines the NABJ's values of inclusion and solidarity and risks normalizing his damaging behavior," he said. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
Thank you, miss. Oh. Bro, tell me people can't even see my shit. How loud does my voice sound? Thank you, miss. Oh. Testicular. Bro, tell me people can't even see my shit. How loud does my voice sound? Thank you, miss. Oh. Testicular. Bro, tell me people can't touching my lips to the mic, talking softly. Testicular. Touching my lips to the mic, talking softly. I think it's not bad. Testicular. Touching my lips to the mic. I think we're chilling. I don't know what this means. We were gonna deep fucking dive in Venezuela. But I guess we can see if no. Where are the VODs? Ugh. Man, we ain't got shit yet. And this guy didn't do any timestamps. Balls. Why no timestamps?
Oh, my little baby, proud of him for asking, but also like he only knows Hasan as the guy I watch. Like, I think he's trying to make a joke about, you know, what Democrats say about Project 2025 there.
APAC, however,
is what they were doing. And responded to them. It follows the truth a little too closely. So for the uninitiated who might have like paid a little bit of attention, they're history. But because when we look at history with horse blinders, we do not have
What am I
any
looking for?
capacity to understand that it goes fucking.
He was talking
Probably
about some
not.
shit that I was interested in.
Not a joke.
Shit.
My beautiful Christians, I love.
If the point.
All right. I think we're just gonna dive into fucking set the keyboard up so I can tape. I think that's close enough. I think we're just gonna dive into after this real quick. Into Venezuela's bullshit, or at least Mr. Maduro's bullshit. I'm gonna try and look up why people hate him. Why he hasn't been able to. Why hasn't he been able to fix the economy? Why he's definitely not socialist. Oh, what the? Just saw some freaking ants.
Point is that you think you can do a fucking top of the hour ad debate at fucking 6:51. You're missing the point. It just doesn't make sense. Because saying I'm a Christian, not Christian, I feel like that's what happened. Because it just doesn't make sense. Can't believe you're getting so libbed up about this. You're missing the point here, man. I'm not missing the point here.
More, my beautiful Christians, I love.
If the point is that you think you can do a fucking top of the hour ad break debate.
He said, I'm no Christian. I thought he was.
At fucking shove. Jackson Hinkle banned. Perm so desperate for viewers, you're leeching off the HasanAbi Discord. Don't quit your day job, brother. Jackson Hinkle breaking. American Communist Party officially launches. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but like, doesn't this kind of make it seem like Gorbachev is responsible for Jackson Hinkle?
I've been seeing a lot of Mr. Hinkle's tweets online. And they're very pro-Palestine. That's why I was liking a few. But then recently, again, with the whole Venezuelan thing, the whole Maduro thing, he's all supporting him. He's over there sucking his shit. So I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? And their American Communist Party is like, what do you mean? And then he's linked to that Midwestern Mark guy that I like. It's just like, I don't think I like this.
I feel like he's kind of responsible for everything that this man has done. Not me, of course. Even though he was a ad break Dankies type HasanAbi head. At the top of the hour, Jackson Hinkle, back in the day, would go, ad break Dankies. Like, he would spam ad break Dankies. Not a joke. He was also like a Bernie bro type.
I don't know he was HasanAbi yet.
He was.
Oh my gosh, say something else, bro.
Also, look at this. Fucking Gorbachev's not even subscribed. He's about to see an ad at the top of the hour. Like a broke ass dude. Here it is. Top of the hour, every hour, top of the hour. Account created July 28, 2020. Following since July 28, 2020. Previously sold for 6 months. Former HasanAbi head Jackson Hinkle.
What happened? Like, what the fuck happened?
I haven't covered the NYPD Phantom stuff yet. I will now. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. No way that's real? No, it is real.
Bro, this water's
He's either an American psyop or a Russian psyop. To be honest, I'm not really sure which one. I
wonder how can I see my vertical.
A couple fucking weirdos have come out of this community, or at least point to me as their point of like right-wing radicalization, including but not limited to Jackson Hinkeldink, but also Sneeko as well. Greaseball Guido, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Anyway, Sneeko said, I still regret not telling you that I thought it was a bad idea to watch that one random Sneeko on your video on your stream. Yeah.
Oh, there's other Toms. Son of a bitch. About live.
He's got a YouTube video on MAGA communism that's hilarious.
No, Toms. Wait, what's the fucking... Oh, 2 T's.
I don't know. Look, I don't know if he's a Fed because, like, this chatter brings up a good point. If he were a psyop, why would his Israel takes be one for one of your takes? Frankly, all his foreign policy aside from Syria and Russia. Yeah, like, I don't know. I think he's just a grifter and not necessarily a Fed, because I feel as though if he was a fucking Fed, yeah, we're gonna watch Phantom in a second. Phantom got Phantom taxed. Let's finish this
Love
video.
you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. And again.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Like, maybe he means like you'll get all your wishes, so you won't even need to vote ever again. But like, I don't know. I just can't figure out.
How do you go to shorts live?
Anyway, we'll do the Trump stuff later. I want to save some good stuff for tomorrow. So I want to move on to Phantom. AMP's very own Phantom, beloved figure by all Zoomers and Generation Alpha, as responsible for the Phantom tax. Someone who I hung out with this weekend, who I very much enjoyed the company of. Yesterday, went to a Dominican parade in New York. Okay. And when he was there, I believe the police got a call. As you know, live streams often have like trolls where I don't know exactly what they told the NYPD, but I suspect that they probably told him it was a stolen car or something.
Yes, they are.
So cops stopped him.
Nah, get the cam on this. Nah, put the cam on
Get the cam on this, bro.
Why you got
Why the gun out?
Why you got this gun out?
Why you got that gun out?
All right, let's check something real quick. How to check if you're live on short. Tip. It's a very simple technique. Simple trick to get massive YouTube short negative view solution. How much YouTube paid me? How to enable live streaming on YouTube. YouTube is paying so much money for shorts, live streams. Should I only stream on fucking shorts? Why is my... No, I guess because I'm...
YouTube live streaming tip. If you're interested in doing live streams on YouTube, you should absolutely be going live to 0 viewers. Plan out your live stream ahead of time and then simply treat it like it's just a live video recording. If you give your stream a good title and a good thumbnail, it can get views long after it's done being a live stream. Let people know during the stream that you actually recorded this live so that they know that you're starting to do these, and hopefully the next time you go live, they'll be there to join you. YouTube live streaming tip.
How do I check if I'm on fucking shorts?
Try this to get more views on your next YouTube short. It's a very simple technique called the video loop. What you need to do is to try this to get more views on your next YouTube short. It's a very simple technique.
If your YouTube shorts aren't getting any views, consider doing this. I had this video, had no views, right? So I re-uploaded it, made the original video a private video, then I changed the title, I changed the description around a little bit, made some of the hashtags and tags a little bit more relevant. Then after waiting a little bit, as you can see, views started coming in. It's not a crazy amount of views. Instead of having your video be
Shit is using up all my internet, bruh. None of these answer. None of these answer my questions. Okay, maybe if I How to stream on YouTube Shorts from your PC, Mac. Oh my gosh, bro. What is wrong with my internet? Bro.
You've seen it on TikTok, you've seen it on Instagram. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the ability here on YouTube to go live into the vertical feed, which shows up directly in YouTube Shorts when people are looking at YouTube Shorts. This is gonna get you in front of more people that might not have clicked on a regular live stream. And by doing so, this can help you grow your viewership on YouTube. So I'm gonna show you how to do it on a phone. I'm gonna show you how to do it on a PC or a Mac computer. And you wanna do it as basic as possible. All you have to do is open the YouTube app, the option to add your stream details, add your title, make sure the visibility is set to public, select your audio. For a computer, the experience is more complicated. Yes, you can stream directly into YouTube, but in most cases, that is not what you're gonna wanna do. The reason for that is because YouTube by default is gonna make your stream landscape if your camera's turned that way, and you have to turn your camera vertical in order for it to work that way. But if you don't wanna move your camera around all the time, then that's not really a good solution, because in that particular case, you're gonna have to constantly be flipping your camera back and forth. Some people won't care. I do. And if you want to show comments on your screen and add branding and things like that, YouTube just doesn't allow you to do it. Also, if you go live directly through the YouTube website, there's a whole other big issue. Imagine streaming for an hour and getting tons of viewers into your live streams, more people than you've ever had in your live stream before. You couldn't be happier. Everything's going great. You're just crushing. Well, that is until you have an internet blip or something minor happens and it causes your stream to go down and causes you to lose all of those viewers that are hanging out. You don't want that to happen, right? I don't know about you, but for me, that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. So there's a better solution that I'm going to share with you. But if you are willing to lose your viewers, then all you have to do is click on the plus icon at the top of youtube.com, fill in your title and description, then choose your camera, then your category, make and upload your thumbnail, let YouTube know that your stream is or is not for kids, click next, make sure the live chat is selected along with the replay, then click next, make sure visibility is set to public, and then hit done. Once you do that, you're gonna get a stream preview. All you have to do now is click the go live button and you'll be on air. Now let's talk about what's quality and graphics. You don't lose all of your per month or limited stream time and you have to do, but there are a handful of steps. However, once you have any type of places, then click on the home this if you want to make that. But then you want thing is set to public. If I've right there, it is select audio and make sure that you have the right audio source selected. I recommend having a microphone so everybody can hear you clearly. But of course, that's up to you. Once all of that is complete, click the X in the top.
I think I'm just gonna turn off the regular and only like stream like once a day or wait till I get people watching and shit. Stop streaming. Okay. Are we good? It says excellent connection. I don't know where. I don't know where the fuck we're at. Now we check on our phone. What is it doing? Okay. Vertical virtual camera. No. No, I can't even. Why is it small? I have no clue, brother. stuck in my head. I don't know if that's gonna do anything. Nope. Man, I can sing. Streaming encoder. What about that? I don't understand. Oh. Well, and this shit looks like it doesn't fit. It's like shit quality too. What do I watch? Let's just. Why is my internet stupid slow, bro? It's like about to crash slow.
Donald Trump is the poster child.
Okay, so the resolution is terrible. I think that's because of the bit rate. So I go up to, I don't know, 15,000. Oh, that helped it. We can go higher. That way, I mean, that's how we're using, so we can just fucking. We can do. We go out to 50 to 25. Fuck did I do? I need to check those numbers because. No, what? I don't even have to have chat because it doesn't have like an option to clear display. Do it. View channel quality. Live chat. Chat filter. Don't recommend. What is live chat? Oh, it does have it. I guess I. So weird. Like, what does that even mean? Oh, okay. What? Skip? Skip to live? Not bad. But this look a little weird. Guess I can fix all that. About that. What if I make myself a little smaller? It's not like I want people to see my ugly ass, but having a face. See how the audio is. And unmute.
62% were married, 50% owned homes, and nearly 66% had steady employment. 94% were the only criminals in their family and didn't experience.
That's pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to do this till does the same still apply? Like the warning, the stream's bill rate is 10,000 is lower than the recommended 10,000 is lower than the recommended use. 68. It was at 8,000 and it fucked my shit up. Suck my. Better stop cussing so much. Description. Oh hell yeah. We're covering daily news, reacting to other takes and into this and some live search about thoughts and comments like post like subscribe for more updates. Enjoy. Okay, I think we're good, bro. Sorry, Leisha. We are going to do some actual fucking. Okay. Here, I'll give you this. We're at 15. It was good. Let's just do 18. Here, 18 is a good number. Okay. I can still record shit. Okay. What was I gonna watch? Something else about keywords. Why? When he was a young wahag. Okay. I can't see how many. I guess that's a good thing about viewers or shit. Why Maduro hasn't? Why hasn't he helped the economy? Maduro economy failure. Maduro economy. Nicolas. Let's just put his whole name. I have to put failure. Or you know what? This is gonna give me nothing but failure. Nicolas Maduro economy. Guess we could just do that. See what we can find. Under Nicolas Maduro, socialist economic policies and corruptions have caused one of the worst humanitarian crises in Western Hemisphere in centuries. Annual inflation peaked at what the? That's not a typo. Shortages of basics goods are widespread. Okay. Did I misspell it? Anyway, I feel like that's why you can't just go on Google and type shit like that, because from my research, from what I've done, it's not socialist at all. And it doesn't mention anything about the U.S. sanctions that help with the inflation. Sweet, that one. And then BBC, yeah, that is outside of the Americas. Runs on oil. Venezuela crisis in brief. I don't need brief, I need detailed. Now, all U.S. Department of State, Al Jazeera, how to be a revolutionary. We'll check this because they're good. Council of Foreign Relations. See how there ain't shit. Interesting. Copy. And then go here. And then we're gonna go scholar. After Chavez, I was gonna play some fucking lofi type shit, huh? Ooh, Mexican lofi. Mexican lo-fi. I mean lo-fi. Internet's still slow as fuck. This one was fucking awesome. Is there nothing live? Just watch some live shit. Or hear some live shit. Barcelona? I guess not. Let's play this while we chill. What the? Please don't fucking paywall me, man. Yeah, after China, little government, the economic war in Venezuela, government, and the economic war. My eyes are fucking hurting already. Nicolas Maduro, a populist without popularity. Political economy of political policy. You know that. Radical. Situation Roma Venezuela off fouled up. Just how radical is Nicolas Maduro? The impact of the non-liberal rule of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, international security between Moscow. Problems of the economic and political crisis in the Bolivarian. Okay, let's start. What is this? Oh, no, I wanted to start. Oh, okay. These are the sources. Abstract. What?
The political economy of Maduro's economic policies. Rodriguez, Francisco, 2020. The political economy of Maduro's economic policies. Abstract. This paper provides a political economy explanation for Venezuela's suboptimal macroeconomic policy choices during the Nicolas Maduro administration. Venezuela's political system, embodied in the 1999 constitution, dramatically increased the stakes of power, raising both the benefits of being in power and the costs of leaving office. It also significantly increased the frequency with which elections were held, exposing the government to a near-permanent state of electoral exposure. The combination of high stakes of power and high electoral exposure raised the incentives for policymakers to focus on the short-term effects of policies and disregard their long-term consequences. We explain why this mix proved toxic when the economy was hit with a large negative shock that required it to implement adjustments with significant near-term costs. In power and the costs of leaving office. It also significantly increased the frequency with which elections were held, exposing the government to a near-permanent state of electoral exposure. The combination of high stakes of power and high electoral exposure raised the incentives for policymakers to focus on the short-term effects of policies and disregard their long-term consequences. We explain why this mix proved toxic.
Good. Fuck is this? Problems of the economic and political crisis in Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Source: Youth in the something century. Where's the article though? Some of these are kind of weird. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at sometimes. Where's the article? Is this it? Why don't I think so, mate? No, that's just a source.
Entrance. His article examines problems of the economic and political crisis in Venezuela. As a result of the study, the following problems were identified: the world's highest inflation, one of the highest murder rates, an inefficient health system that has led to a humanitarian crisis, a virtually devalued currency, widespread corruption of all state institutions, a lack of production of goods, and a disastrously high external debt. All these.
Yeah, that's what sucks about scholars sometimes. You can't even access these motherfuckers. Commentary. Maduro proves Milton right 60 years later. What? Oh.
Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro proves Milton Friedman right 60 years later.
Bro.
Benjamin Powell, a senior fellow at the Independent Institute.
Paywall information can suck my dick. I think I was. Who's this? Oh, Al Jazeera.
Proud to be a revolutionary. Valencia, Venezuela, in the Venezuelan town of Los Guayos, Elsa Rojas sits proudly under a blue tent erected in a corner of the main square. A large poster hangs down from one corner of the awning. Another is draped over the white plastic table in front of her. Both bear the same mustachioed face, that of President Nicolas Maduro, styled in the colors of the Venezuelan flag. Rojas meticulously reviews a list attached to her clipboard. All morning, she has asked passersby to pledge to vote for Maduro as he seeks a third term in Sunday's presidential elections. colors of the Venezuelan elections. I feel proud to be a revolutionary, she said, echoing the rhetoric of the Bolivarian Revolution, the socialist movement that Maduro has championed. Maduro has given us so much. But the 46-year-old mother of three, who works in local government, admits that rallying support for Maduro's United Socialist Party of Venezuela, PSUV, has been more challenging than in the past. She is herself part of a dwindling base of support. As Sunday's election approaches, Maduro has seen his grip on power weaken as the opposition surges in the polls. Even once loyal supporters.
I did hear that government workers get paid more. I think they even, what was it? Like their peso is like locked at like 10 pesos per dollar, but I hear that only applies to certain people, including government workers and the military.
Supporters have turned their backs on Maduro, openly embracing rival candidate Edmundo González Urrutia, a retired diplomat. One recent survey from the data firm Delphos and Andrés Bello Catholic University found that more than 59% of voters polled supported González, compared with 26.7% for Maduro. But Maduro and his allies are hoping that economic incentives and the specter of foreign influence in Venezuela's politics will help draw voters to their side, though critics warn the incumbent is not above using repression to ensure his victory. A bus driver turned president. A woman walks past slogans supporting Maduro and linking him to the late Hugo Chavez, Luis Felipe Hernandez/Al Jazeera. A former bus driver in the capital city of Caracas, Maduro was a longtime supporter of the late Hugo Chavez, Venezuela's hugely popular socialist president. The political movement Chavez forged even bears his name, Chavismo. Its acolytes are called Chavistas. In Chavez's government, Maduro worked his way up from being foreign minister to vice president. As Chavez succumbed to cancer in 2013, the ailing president tapped Maduro as the successor to his political movement. But since taking power, Maduro has presided over an economic free fall as prices for oil, Venezuela's main export, plummeted. The economy shrank almost 80% between 2014 and 2021, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Spiraling inflation, meanwhile, helped spur a humanitarian crisis that led to shortages of food and medicine. An estimated 7.7 million people have since left the country, nearly a quarter of the population.
Boom, that right there. Nobody can ever answer me, if Maduro's so damn good, why is everyone fucking leaving? Like, you don't just have this many people leave your country because they don't like you. There's more to it, definitely, that I'm gonna get to the bottom of.
Population. On top of the economic woes, Maduro has also struggled to muster the popularity of his predecessor. In the 2013 special election, he barely eked out a victory over an opposition candidate that Chavez had trounced just 1 year earlier. Maduro's re-election in 2018, by contrast, was marked by record-low voter turnout and allegations of election fraud in his favor. Phil Gunson, a senior analyst with the Crisis Group, a non-profit dedicated to conflict resolution, noted that Maduro has leaned heavily on his association with Chavez in his current campaign. The government had been downplaying the socialism aspect during Maduro's campaigns, the color red, the references to Chavez and the revolution, he said. But I think it quickly became apparent to them that Maduro was so unpopular that they really had to bring Chavez back center stage. Maduro has managed to cling to some unwavering supporters, who see him as instrumental in carrying forward Venezuela's socialist revolution. Rojas counts herself among them. Her confidence in Sunday's outcome is ironclad. I know we are going to win and that we are going to celebrate. I have no doubt, she said jubilantly. Financial bonuses.
She was right.
A pamphlet advertises the achievements of Maduro, the achievements of Venezuela before the election, Luis Felipe Hernandez/Al Jazeera.
I need to know that too.
In the lead-up to Sunday's vote, Maduro's camp has attempted to reach out to voters by playing up its efforts to combat inflation and address poverty. Since 2016, hyperinflation has eroded the value of the national currency, the bolivar. In response, some residents have shifted to using the United States dollar for their transactions. However, this informal dollarization of the economy has reduced the purchasing power of those not paid in the foreign currency, like pensioners and government workers. In an attempt to address the economic instability, however, this informal dollarization of the economy has reduced the purchasing power of those not paid in the foreign currency, like pensioners and government workers. In an attempt to address the economic instability, Maduro launched one of his signature programs in 2016, the Local Committees for Supply and Production, CLAP, a food distribution network. Also in 2016, the government unveiled a bonus scheme where different segments of the population would sporadically receive financial top-ups. Luis Bermudez Romero, 90, has been among the recipients. A retired university professor living in Valencia, Venezuela's third biggest city, Bermudez credits Maduro with mitigating the economic crisis. Nicholas has been a positive surprise for us. He is the person that has foreseen every problem and come up with a solution, said Bermudez.
Where?
Sitting in his living room, surrounded by photos of his children and grandchildren, Bermudez described himself as a faithful advocate of Chavismo, which promotes anti-imperialism, social justice, and wealth redistribution. Like other pensioners in the country, he receives the equivalent of $3.50 a month for his pension, the same as a public sector minimum wage, and about enough for a large carton of milk. Blasting U.S. sanctions. Luis Bermudez Romero shares his collection of pro-Chavez socialist literature, Luis Felipe Hernandez/Al Jazeera. In explaining Venezuela's economic crisis, Bermudez echoed a theme that Maduro has leaned on during his campaign, the threat of U.S. interference in the country's domestic affairs. The North American empire has left us high and dry. It has left the government with nothing. But Maduro has made a great effort to help us with these bonuses, Bermudez said. Maduro himself has slammed the U.S. for slapping sanctions on Venezuela over accusations of corruption and human rights abuses. He also blames the opposition for encouraging economic penalties against his government. The gringos think they can threaten Venezuela. They cannot threaten Venezuela, Maduro said, using a slang term for foreigners on state TV in April. Since 2005, the U.S. has placed sanctions on...
I'm glad they said slang and not slur, because gringo is not a slur. Okay? Okay.
Proud to be a revolutionary. Valencia, Venezuela, in the Venezuelan town of Los Guayos, Elsa Rojas sits proudly under a blue tent erected in a corner of the main square. A large poster hangs down from one corner of the... The gringos think they can threaten Venezuela. They cannot threaten Venezuela, Maduro said, using a slang term for foreigners on state TV in April. Since 2005, the U.S. has placed sanctions on individuals and entities in Venezuela for criminal, anti-democratic or corrupt actions. But in 2017, under then-President Donald Trump, the U.S. imposed broad financial sanctions against the government in response to alleged democratic backsliding. That proved to be fuel for Maduro's accusations of outside meddling in the country's economy. He blames the sanctions for making everyday Venezuelans poorer. His government regularly...
I agree that the sanctions have a lot to do with it, but that's what I need. Next, I'm gonna try and find out Maduro's fucking like his accomplishments, because like, yes, the sanctions have a lot to do with it, but why? Like, why hasn't he done anything about it? Or what is he doing about it? You know what I mean? Like, those are my questions.
Regularly announces bonuses for different sectors of the population, including an economic war bonus for pensioners, its name a reference to the US-led sanctions. It awarded pensioners an additional $45 this month. Gunson, the analyst for the crisis group, has lived in Caracas for 25 years. He believes Maduro's rhetoric about the sanctions could pay electoral dividends. It's a powerful message. It resonates with a lot of people, Gunson said. It has a grain of truth to it, but it's not the whole story by any means. A July campaign leaflet entitled Maduro's Achievements also listed the solutions the president and his allies said.
Whoa, a July campaign leaflet? Oh, that's...
Said they used to blunt the sanctions, including maintaining peace and conquering hyperinflation. They did conquer hyperinflation, Gunson explained. But they also caused it. They basically shrank the economy, eliminated credit and forced people to live on starvation wages.
That was because of the sanctions. They did conquer hyperinflation because they took away money from the people, basically.
Wages. New campaign strategies. Alfred Rajoy wears a jacket showing his support. Eager to mask the blights on his years in power, Maduro has adopted new campaign strategies to woo voters. He joined the video platform TikTok in 2020 and has since amassed more than 2.2 million followers. On Instagram live broadcasts, he shows off his rallies, where he has sung, danced and prayed with his supporters. Scrolling through videos on his phone, mototaxi driver Alfred Rajoy speaks animatedly about how he attended one of the recent rallies. He told Al Jazeera he was proud to be one of the motorcyclists who got close to the president. Rajoy's windbreaker jacket testifies to his devotion to the Chavismo movement. The faces of Maduro and Chavez are printed on the front, one on either side of the zipper. But he acknowledges that Maduro's government has faced criticism over corruption and its human rights record. It's no secret that we have had failures here.
That's another thing. No matter who you are, you don't fucking go out and send the police out on your citizens. If you do that, you're an automatic bitch. Like you don't do that to protesters.
Extreme failures. There is some discontent in our communities throughout the country. Some people close to Nicolas Maduro have done wrong, Rajoy said. He also expressed a degree of discomfort with government actions designed to dismantle and discourage the opposition. Dozens of opposition members have been detained in the lead-up to Sunday's race, and restaurants and hotels that hosted Gonzalez, the rival presidential candidate, have been shut down. But some supporters dismiss such stories as misinformation, or, worse, fabrications from the opposition and foreign agents. Guillermo Avila, 24, a Maduro supporter, said he believes many of the criticisms he sees online are the product of opposition manipulation. They portray our government as a totalitarian and dictatorial one, but actually, it is a participatory and crucial government, Avila said. It offers a space for everyone. We are seeing the country growing economically, where people look happy in the streets.
Where?
But for Gunson, Maduro's man of the people narrative doesn't hold up against his track record of alleged abuses. Maduro styles himself the worker because he didn't go to university and he was a bus driver, Gunson said. But this is a government that jails trade union leaders for protesting. These are people who have grown rich exploiting the poor, and they claim to be socialists.
Capitalism?
Contradiction is in their middle name. As a result of Maduro's reputation for tamping down dissent, many opposition voters are concerned the president and his supporters won't respect a Gonzalez win. From his living room armchair, Bermudez watches Maduro's campaigns on his small television set. For him, Maduro losing is inconceivable. The prospect even brought tears to his eyes. The loss of the election would be the loss of the country, the destruction of Venezuela. Other Maduro supporters, however, are less fatalistic about the possibility.
See what I mean? Like, people don't just say that. People don't just say this shit because they don't like the guy. Like, actually, no, I'll take that back. Trumpers always say that shit. Trumpers say that shit in worse. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Proud to be a revolutionary. Valencia, Venezuela, in the Venezuelan town of Los Guayos, Elsa Rojas sits proudly under a blue tent erected in a corner of the main square. A large poster hangs down from one corner of the awning. Another is, the loss of the election would be the loss of the country, the destruction of Venezuela. Other Maduro supporters, however, are less fatalistic about the possibility of an end to nearly 25 years of socialist rule. This is a democracy, said Rajoy. The most important thing is that people vote and that the result is respected. Both men are eagerly awaiting the results on Election Day, which, not coincidentally, falls on the late Chavez's birthday. Source, Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera. I like Al Jazeera. What is this? After Chavez, the Maduro government in Venezuela. Whoa. This was written in 2015. After Chavez, the Maduro government and the economic war in Venezuela. Nearly 2 years after the death of Hugo Chavez, a key question that many on the left are debating in Venezuela is elsewhere. Been true to his legacy or what?
January 8, 2015. After Chavez, the Maduro government and the economic war in Venezuela. By Steve Elner. Nearly 2 years after the death of Hugo Chavez, the key question that many on the left are debating, in Venezuela and elsewhere, is whether his successors have been true to his legacy, or whether the revolutionary process initiated more than a decade ago has now stalled or even been thrown into reverse. The recent emergence of a number of pressing problems has convinced some Chavistas that the revolution has either been betrayed or, at best, that President Nicolas Maduro is severely lacking in Chavez's political acumen. High on the list of difficulties are the chronic shortages of numerous consumer goods and products, including basic ones, as well as an annual inflation rate of over 60%. Both of these, Maduro claims, are part of an economic war being waged by powerful interests to destabilize Venezuela. The government's difficulties include the universally recognized problem of corruption. Of course, these scourges were also prevalent under Chavez, but with less intensity, and in any case he faced them head-on. His response to the shortages of basic commodities, which became particularly severe in 2007, influencing the outcome of the referendum on proposed constitutional reform, was to decree widespread expropriations. In 2009, he faced the problem of corruption that led to a major financial crisis by jailing at least 16 bankers, including the brother of a trusted cabinet minister, and ordering the arrest of over 40 others who fled the country, while at the same time nationalizing 13 banks. Radical Chavistas point out that Maduro is lacking in audacity of this type. They criticize, for instance, the decision to replace the Chavista slogan Chavez Lives, the struggle continues, with Chavez Lives, the homeland continues, as indicative of political retreat and a lessening of the leadership's revolutionary fervor. One Chavista radical concluded that, given this type of rhetorical modification, Chavez is facing a second death. 1. The radicals also questioned the rationale behind the proposed peace dialogue with opposition leaders and the business sector, designed to control the violent protests that shook Venezuela in early 2014. They were convinced that underlying these conversations were concessions to the historical enemies of the Bolivarian Revolution. Antonio Aponte and Toby Valderrama, an ex-guerrilla of the 1960s whom Maduro has attacked personally, wrote it's time for self-criticism.
Gorillas,
We wanted to avoid sacrifices, and so we extended our hand to the bourgeoisie, the enemies of peace. We wanted to control the capitalist monster that is uncontrollable. 2. These critiques raise the question of how to evaluate a government committed to taking the gradual democratic road to far-reaching change in the context of extreme polarization and conflict. Is a period of lull in the deepening of change, including compromises with adversaries, necessarily a sign that all has been lost, as those who invoke the term permanent revolution often argue? Certainly, history is replete with examples of governments committed to structural transformation that, after initial advances, begin to backslide and end up completely abandoning the struggle. On the other hand, Lenin's slogan of one step backwards to take 2 steps forward, in reference to the new economic policy, may be applicable to Venezuela under Maduro, as some Chavista moderates suggest. Finally, what are the issues we should be looking at in evaluating the Maduro government's claim to have inherited Chavez's revolutionary mantle? January 8, 2015. And what are the issues that are not particularly germane to this discussion, but that some on the left are raising in a misguided attempt to define the ideological orientation of the Maduro government? What has the Maduro government done right, and has it gone far enough? One of the keys to Chavez's political success was his strategy of taking advantage of each electoral and non-electoral victory by immediately carrying out measures that deepened the process of change, initiating new stages in the transformation of the country, and weakening adversaries. Thus, several electoral victories.
I feel like this guy had good intentions, but he just didn't think shit through. He didn't read the full Marxist or socialist handbook. Not that I have, but I know that you definitely don't just give people money and then not make that money back.
Victories during Chavez's first 2 years in office set the stage for controversial anti-neoliberal legislation in November 2001, including an agrarian reform and nationalistic oil law. The defeat of the coup and general strike in 2002 to 2003 created conditions that made Chavez's announced commitment to combating imperialism politically feasible. Similarly, his defeat of the recall election in 2004 led to Chavez's declaration of socialism as his principal goal. His re-election in 2006, with the highest percentage of votes in Venezuela's modern history, paved the way for his nationalization of telecommunications, electricity, steel, cement, and other strategic industries. In 2014, Maduro broke with this radicalization strategy. In May, the government emerged victorious after 3 months of civil disobedience and urban violence, known as the Guarimba, with the stated aim of overthrowing Maduro. In the aftermath, however, the government failed to seize the opportunity to initiate further change, and instead continued to call on the opposition to engage in dialogue in order to ensure stability. However, the radicals expressing disillusionment with Maduro's alleged inertia overstate their case.
The radicals?
Maduro's peace dialogue meetings, regardless.
I don't like when people use these type of words, bro. Radicals, extremists. I just feel like when somebody uses this language, they're not being genuine. They're just talking shit, you know what I mean?
regardless of whether they resulted in concessions to the private sector, as the radicals claim, or failed to produce concrete agreements, as the opposition claims, created a climate conducive to the re-establishment of order. In addition, the initiative opened up divisions in the enemy camp by pitting the private sector, which agreed to participate, and many opposition followers, who were repulsed by the disorders, against an intransigent opposition, which included nearly all anti-government leaders, the only important exception being Lara's Governor Henri Falcon. As a result, the opposition found itself deeply divided, demoralized, lacking capacity for mobilization, and without any spokesperson who could represent a unified anti-government bloc. Maduro's efforts to combat price speculation, hoarding, contraband and corruption, in spite of shortcomings and limitations, helped define his administration as leftist and differentiate it from pre-Chavez governments prior to 1998. Underpinning the campaign is a definition of private property, first put forward by Chavez, which amounts to a rejection of the concept of the sacred, unconditional rights of property holders, a fundamental precept of capitalist ideology dating back to the 18th century. In his agrarian reform known as the Land Law enacted in 2001 and his decision to expropriate idle companies in 2005, Chavez made clear that private enterprises had well-defined responsibilities and would be subject to state intervention and eventual takeover if these obligations were not fulfilled. Maduro has reinforced this principle at the level of discourse, legislation, and concrete actions in an effort to counter the economic war. In November 2013, his government initiated a campaign to check hoarding and sharp price increases by slapping commercial establishments with fines, obliging them to sell. January 8, 2015. Products at lower prices and in some cases jailing managers. The campaign struck a responsive chord among voters who gave the Chavistas an 11.5 percentage point margin over the opposition in municipal elections the following month. The polling firm Hinterlaces indicated that only 28%.
Who is this guy? Damn. Who has taught economic history and political science at the University of Oriente? Oh shit. He's Venezuelan? Wait. He's not Venezuelan. Op-ed articles for the New York Times. I just how many academic works have been translated and published in Spanish since January 19. Latin American perspective, early life and education. Oh yeah. University Prior Social Sciences, first place granted by the University Research Books. Los partidos políticos y su disputa por el control del movimiento sindical en Venezuela. The Venezuelan Petroleum. Damn. Generational identification and political fragments in Venezuela. This guy's not I mean, he's a historian, you know? What does that mean? Oh, hell yeah. Wikipedia is not available on Talk More Try by clicking the dark color section appearance in the menu rate. Oh, yes. My eyes. My eyes. This is pretty good, but I gotta read this myself, not like on the stream. I gotta find entertaining shit on stream. You know what I mean? Nicolas Maduro's accomplishments. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I don't know what an ABC. News about the election. Venezuela's President Maduro declared victory. President Maduro declared winner. President angry with defense chant fraud. $10 ago. And look at the achievements. I don't know if we should. The profile of Nicolas Maduro. Bro, does he have none? Venezuelan president feasts at Salt Bay restaurant while country goes hungry. Oh, wait. Exclusive interview with this guy. Bullshit. Al Jazeera. Inside the story. Inside the story of America's death of dictator Chavez and the media. It's 11 years ago. Who didn't say shit? Bro, is there none? I gotta take a piss, bro. All right, I'm so back. Anyway, this guy doesn't have any accomplishments. How to cling to power. I feel like we knew how, or at least I don't care right now. Nicolas Maduro accomplishments. What can we type to find out what he? What can we type to I mean, I want to know what he has done to try and fix Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro's fix economy. I feel like I think I seen this yesterday. Yeah, I did. Why is my shit so slow, bro? It's weird. Weird. Hold on. Guess it don't matter. What slows down your fucking CPU and your memory? But I mean, we're chilling, right? I don't know how to read that. SSD. I don't know what the fuck. Baby, why don't you come over? 2 days. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I just need to restart this shit. Anyway, how socially in the White House Venezuela spectacular oil wealth. Huh, interesting. Let's listen. Let's see what this guy has to say. Any day now. You're totally chilling. Let me just check this shit out. $1,000 lower than the recommended 6,000. How is the bit rate that? You tripping? Oh, I got bit rate right here, guy. No, I don't. Doesn't tell you shit. Huh?
Yo llevo aquí a las 8 de la noche ayer con mi esposa embarazada y con 1 litro de gasolina. No joda.
This fucking rat.
Con tanto petróleo, tanta riqueza que hay en Venezuela, no nos merecemos un país como lo tenemos hoy en día, deteriorado por culpa de los que están en el régimen, en el poder.
Venezuela está en este momento viviendo lo que era su principal pesadilla y era asistir al fin de su era petrolera.
Bro, I am so surprised Venezuela survived fucking COVID. Now that I think about it. This was 21. I mean, that's in the fucking middle of it. High key. Maybe this video talks about it.
Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and yet the country has completely run out of gasoline.
Shit, bro, what? My computer is gonna crash, I swear.
After nearly 2 decades of epic mismanagement, the socialist government no longer has the capacity to extract oil from the ground or to refine it into usable form. The shortages have paralyzed the economy. Travel within the country has become prohibitively expensive. Farmers can barely afford to bring their crops to the cities. Meanwhile, price restrictions have given rise to a vibrant black market. Andres, a public bus operator in Caracas, is given special access to fill up his tank because he provides an essential city service. But earning the equivalent of under $200 a month, he is struggling to make ends meet. Bus operators in his position often prefer to keep their bus parked and extract gas from the tank to resell on the black market for about $8 per gallon. To put that into perspective, the average Venezuelan individual subsists on less than $5 per day.
Mira, los que trabajan con autobuses de gasolina prefieren tener el autobús parado
para echar gasolina y revender la gasolina. Así con el dinero que ganan van metiéndole plática al autobús.
Este puesto para Puente Baloa, la California Los Ruices, Los Caminos Miranda, Petare, Puente Baloa. Este autobús es de gasoil y gasta diario, vamos a 60 litros, 65 litros diario. Pero bueno, uno tiene que hacer ahorita una gran cola para echar gasoil. Incluso nos piden, los mismos guardias de la bomba nos piden billetico más para que nos llenen el tanque como es debido, porque con 40 litros que da el gobierno no es suficiente. Uno tiene que estar trabajando para arriba y para abajo, a vueltas, a la gran carga cada rato para uno poderse llevar algo, para que el carro produzca lo que tiene que producir, algo para mantenerse.
La gente se queda mucho del pasaje, pero no de los gastos que tiene uno. El pasajero piensa que porque el pasaje está 50 bolívares y él piensa que el carro no tiene más gastos. Más o menos la semana pasada se le gastaron $600 en caucho. Cuando yo recupero esos 50 bolívares del pasaje. Una manguera, una simple manguera, un pedacito de manguera, como decirlo, como de agua, son $20. El carro diario máximo te puede dar $45. Serían 20 para mí, 20 para la dueña del carro y 5 para el colector, para decirlo así. ¿Cuándo recupero yo los $600 o cuándo recuperan los $600 del carro, de los cauchos?
The little gas that is still available comes via periodic shipments from Iran, but the Venezuelan government barely charges for that gasoline. Instead, it rations it through a quota system, so filling up your tank can mean waiting in line for days.
My man's pushing his car, bro.
David used to be a car mechanic, but now he charges clients for the time spent waiting in lines at subsidized gas stations in order to fill up their tanks with cheaper fuel.
Tengamos en cuenta que mi negocio no es vender la gasolina, ¿no? Pero de alguna manera sí es satisfacer las necesidades de mis clientes a nivel de trabajo. Tengo bastantes personas que les hago el servicio de mecánica de los vehículos, que son personas ya en entradas edades, de los cuales no pueden estar haciendo una cola ni de 8 horas, ni de 2 días, ni de 3 días, ni de una semana. Yo soy el que voy a sacrificar mi tiempo, mi espacio, o 2 y 3 días de cola. Evidentemente después no la iba a colocar al precio, porque todos debemos ganar. Primero ya es engorroso el tema de ir y echar gasolina. Y después lo que tienes que hacer para poderla retirar, para igual colocársela a otro vehículo. Triste que tengamos un país con tanta riqueza y a la vez no tengamos ahora nada. Ni siquiera el mismo combustible que deberíamos producir en masa. Y ahora tengamos que estarlo importando.
Before 2003, Venezuela's state-owned oil company, known as PDVSA, worked closely with foreign multinationals and was mostly insulated from government interference.
La actual administración, los últimos 20, 25 años de gobierno, se encargaron de destruir lo poco que se había sembrado el petróleo. Porque ¿qué era la siembra del petróleo? Destruir lo poco que se había sembrado.
Foreign multinationals and was mostly insulated from government interference.
La actual administración, los últimos 20, 25 años de gobierno, se encargaron de... La actual administración, los últimos 20, 25 años de gobierno,
Sociology professor, University of Católica Andrés Bello. Ain't no way, bro.
se encargaron de destruir lo poco que se había sembrado el petróleo. Porque ¿qué era la siembra del petróleo? La economía no petrolera. Y bueno, a través del proceso de expropiaciones, de controles, de sobrecontroles de la economía, etcétera, lo que hicieron fue que estrangularon y eliminaron a la economía no petrolera. No solamente conforme con eso, también destruyeron la economía petrolera.
PDVSA llegó a tener más de 20 refinerías en el mundo, 6 en Venezuela, pero teníamos en otros países, por ejemplo en los Estados Unidos éramos dueños de Citgo. Citgo llegó a tener 7, 8 grandes refinerías en los Estados Unidos, llegó a tener oleoductos que atravesaban ese país de sur a norte, llegó a tener 15.750 estaciones de servicio abanderadas con la marca Citgo, llegamos a tener 36 terminales. De hecho, llegamos a controlar el 10% del mercado interno de gasolina más importante del mundo, que era el de los Estados Unidos. Éramos capaces de llevar nuestro petróleo desde nuestro subsuelo hasta el tanque de gasolina de los automovilistas americanos, pasando todo el tiempo por instalaciones venezolanas. Pozos venezolanos, oleoductos venezolanos, tanqueros y supertanqueros venezolanos, refinerías venezolanas, de aquí a allá. Habíamos creado una cosa gigantesca, pero en ese momento se produjo un costoso accidente histórico en Venezuela. Ganó Chávez las elecciones.
Señor comandante Hugo Chávez Frías, ante Dios y ante la patria, ¿jura usted cumplir fielmente los deberes inherentes al cargo de presidente constitucional de Venezuela?
That
Lo juro.
literally means nothing. How many people have done that and been caught being fucking the worst people ever?
Hugo Chavez became the president of Venezuela in 1999, and up until his death from cancer in 2013, he would enact a policy agenda that he dubbed socialism for the 21st century, turning one of the most prosperous countries in Latin America into the site of a humanitarian crisis. Chavez rewrote the constitution, clamped down on freedom of the press, nationalized over 1,000 private companies, and destroyed the national currency through hyperinflation. When Chavez attempted to seize control of PDVSA in 2002, the employees staged a massive strike, so Chavez fired 18,000 state oil workers, including 80% of its top engineers.
Said, oh, you don't like it and you fart. What a dumbass.
Anuncio la destitución, despido de las siguientes personas.
I think people who are trying to claim that socialism is the way, or that Venezuela is doing socialism, like, and that Maduro's the way to go, is like, bro, can you not see? Like, people are leaving. People don't like it there. It's a failing country. Like, what are these people? What are they on?
Eddie Ramírez, director gerente hasta el día de hoy de Palmavén. Pa' afuera. Offside. Señor Juan Fernández está despedido de Petróleos de Venezuela. Yo no tengo problema de rasparlos a toditos si a toditos hubiera que rasparlo. No tengo ningún problema.
Despidió 20.000 trabajadores de PDVSA. Cada uno de ellos en promedio tenía 15 años trabajando para la industria, de manera que lanzó al cesto de la basura 300.000 años de experiencia y conocimiento. Eso se dice fácil, pero el impacto fue brutal. En vez de estar produciendo 5 o 6 millones de barriles diarios, que es lo que deberíamos estar produciendo en Venezuela, el último informe mensual de la OPEP ubica nuestra producción en base a fuentes secundarias en 339.000 barriles por día. Hoy en día, después de tener una importancia gigantesca en el mundo petrolero, hoy en día somos un productor marginal y un exportador insignificante de petróleo.
Yo pienso que dentro de poco se va a formar algún problema, va a haber protesta, algo, porque mire, si no llega a haber gasoil, ¿cómo se va a haber comida en la calle? Pues no va a haber, porque el gasoil mayormente es el que mueve el transporte pesado y mueven los alimentos, todo eso. Entonces, oye, la gente se va a salir a las calles.
People are leaving, they can't eat.
In yet another tragic irony of a country ruined by socialism, Chavez's hand-picked successor, Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro, is now working to bring privately run foreign oil companies back into the country to revive the industry. Meanwhile, in a tragic reminder that the most valuable commodity isn't a natural resource, but the human expertise to put it to productive use, Venezuela, the country with the most oil in the world, is paralyzed because it has run out of gasoline.
That looks fun, but fuck them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Shift Z. Shift Z. That was gonna show it. Be right back. Shift Z. Not working. Show BRB. Shift Z. I gotta restart the whole thing or something. Anyway, let me just see. I don't got any weird shit here. Oof. I think we're good, bro. Instant right wing grift. Jake Lucky. What? Dr. has posted for the first time in over a month since he admitted. Is this you playing with a minor? Good one, she, her. The internet will never fix your real threat. Depression. Did you at least increase the vertical leap? And got a tan too? I heard you a pedophile ninja. I heard you like little boys and girls ninja. Little brainwashed woke boy putting out Dragon Ball Z with Kendrick Lines got me big time. Why does it gotta be a woke person? You know what I mean? Like, or people like my shit, but nobody can answer it. Top 10 global headlines media didn't tell you so far this year. Russia has created a new shipping line, which is the West has no control over. Oh, yeah? America versus India. India has signed a 10-year deal with Iran to fund the building of Iran's largest shipping port. This will connect India to the Russian shipping lane. Previous point. Germany has sent to shoot down an American drone, mistaking it for a Houthi drone. Iraq. The Islamic resistance in Iraq attacked the U.S. military base in Syria, injuring U.S. soldiers. Good. The petrodollar has come to an end. As
US dollars. Instead, they will actually... America has just been told to basically fuck off by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia will no longer be selling oil in just US dollars. Instead, they will actually be trading in the Chinese yuan and the Russian ruble. Now, the reason for this is that Saudi Arabia has decided not to renew their 80-year petrodollar deal with the US. Since 1974, this petrodollar deal meant that Saudi Arabia was only allowed to sell their oil in US dollars. This petrodollar deal is one of the few big things that have been propping up the US dollar around the world. And with this deal over, it means a new currency could very easily take its place. And as you may know, it's possible that that new currency could be a BRICS currency. Members of BRICS, if you don't know, have announced a cryptocurrency blockchain-based currency. And this is expected to be backed by gold, unlike the US dollar, which isn't really backed by anything. And since Saudi Arabia ended this petrodollar deal with the US just today, they have actually said that they could potentially sell their oil in crypto in the future. And so Saudi Arabia definitely seems to be shifting from the west more towards the east. So as you can probably imagine, this is a major blow to the US. And over the next few weeks and months, you could potentially see the US wanting to place sanctions onto Saudi Arabia simply just for doing this. But for some more news like this, you can just check out
Russian President Putin offered a peace deal to Ukraine, which has since been rejected by Ukraine. Yeah, because he probably wants half of fucking Ukraine. Ain't no way, bro. That's not
has just announced that they will be sending troops to the For the first time, North Korea is going to be sending troops to Russia to help them fight Ukraine. After Putin visited last week, North Korea has just announced that they will be sending troops to the Donbass region of Ukraine to help the Russian forces. The US has responded to this, and they said they will be, quote, slaughtered. The US Department of Defense said, if I were a member of the North Korean military, I would question the wisdom of being sent to Ukraine to participate in an unlawful war in East.
Not gonna happen, bro. Okay, full shit. I wish this were true. LDS people, is this for real? The church has been infiltrated. Kamala stands for everything that is against the religion beliefs. Higher ED, promoting the general welfare. No, she doesn't. The alternative is literally a rapist. Y'all don't have the foggiest. Y'all don't have the foggiest idea what you're talking about. Damn, bro. Oof. This girl is bad, bro. I don't care. Like,
Free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, free Yemen, free Hawaii, free Guam. Beyond a ceasefire,
Hawaii,
we need an
hell
end to the
yeah.
occupation. It's deeper than this. I need everybody that's here right now, everybody that's watching, to step up, to use their voices. I'm not a public speaker. I kind of yell on Instagram sometimes. That's about that's as far as I go. But any difference that you can make is appreciated. Wear your keffiyehs outside. Stop and shop at Palestinian businesses. Hire Palestinians, hire Congolese people, hire people from Sudan. Send your
yes, it is. You must be weird as soon as you had sexual allegations. Now you jumped on the far right wing bandwagon. That's weird. Well, you see what happens is the right wing is more accepting to pedos, to people who like children. They're into that kind of stuff. The unbelievably problematic allegations, anti-woke, right-wing grifter pipeline stays undefeated. Mehdi Hassan. With a little collateral damage, but to try and fail to kill Hamas leaders in the tiny occupied Gaza Strip, they apparently first have to kill 14,000 Palestinian kids. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Son of a bitches. This guy's hilarious, bro. I love
como 1000 veces. Sí, ya fue presidente 2 veces y terminando estas elecciones, en teoría, pues ya debería de comenzar su tercer mandato. 3 veces presidente, o sea, perdóname, yo no soy aquel para estar juzgando, pero eso me suena a dictadura. La dictadura. Pues sí, o sea, se supone que ese güey dijo que en verdad sí ganó las elecciones presidenciales y por eso va a iniciar un tercer mandato. ¿Y si las ganó? Pues mira, según el Consejo Nacional Electoral, que está regulado por el gobierno actual, pues sí dijo que Maduro ganó con el 51% de los votos, mientras que Edmundo González nada más alcanzó 44% de los votos. O sea que el Consejo Nacional Electoral, regulado y administrado por el gobierno de Maduro, dijo que ganó Maduro. Así es. Así que la oposición aseguraba que esto fue un gran fraude electoral. ¿Y sí fue? Se lo dejaremos al criterio de cada quien. Por lo que la oposición anunció fraude y que ellos habían adquirido más del 70% de los votos, mientras que Maduro no había alcanzado ni siquiera el 20% de ellos. ¡Ah, su máquina! Así que la oposición, para poder respaldar esta acusación de fraude, exigieron la publicación de las actas de votación o las actas electorales, en las cuales podemos ver quiénes votaron, en dónde votaron y cuándo votaron. O sea, la publicación de los votos de verdad. Así es, igualmente diversas organizaciones internacionales como la ONU o la OEA, que es la Organización de Estados Americanos, exigieron transparencia en las votaciones presidenciales. O sea que básicamente le pidieron a Maduro que muestre los votos. Así es, igualmente diversos países miembros de la OEA solicitaron una reunión urgente en Washington para poder analizar las votaciones en Venezuela. Oye, güey, pero seguramente esto no le gustó a Maduro porque podría interpretarse como intervencionismo. Exacto, y es por esto que Maduro cortó relaciones con 9 países diferentes y expulsó a los representantes diplomáticos del país. Güey, a Maduro le está valiendo ver. No solo eso, sino que también cerró diversas embajadas y consulados, como por ejemplo en República Dominicana, Costa Rica, Argentina, Uruguay y entre otros. Ese güey está pidiendo una vergüenza y no de las que le gustan. Y debido a la acusación de fraude, actualmente existen decenas de manifestaciones a lo largo del país en contra del régimen de Maduro. Maduro debería de leer un poco sobre las primaveras árabes. Muchos venezolanos sí están acusando de fraude en las elecciones presidenciales que inclusive durante las votaciones existieron diversas irregularidades cuando pues fueron a votar, como por ejemplo que el 25% de la población venezolana en el extranjero no pudo votar en los consulados, que también hubo robo de casillas, robo de urnas, quema de estas mismas, robo de votos y bueno, pues ya sabes, cosas que pasan en Latinoamérica. Ay, ¿qué es esto? ¿Elecciones presidenciales en México? Bueno, hasta hoy, 30 de julio, la oposición indica que ya tienen las verdaderas actas de votación y que ellos sí se llevaron más del 60% de las votaciones de los venezolanos. Entonces sí ganó la oposición. Según las actas digitalizadas, sí, la oposición ha ganado la mayoría de los votos en Venezuela. Pero supongo que Maduro dice que eso es falso. En efecto, Maduro asegura que sí ganó las elecciones democráticamente, pero pues la neta, o sea, si fuera tan democráticas esas elecciones y sí ganó limpiamente, ¿por qué chingados está reprimiendo a las manifestaciones en todo el país, en todo Venezuela, causando decenas de muertes, cientos de heridos y aparte mandando grupos de choque y también a las fuerzas de seguridad, al ejército y a la policía en contra de manifestaciones pacíficas? ¡Hijo de su puta madre! ¡Ánimo, Venezuela! ¡Oh! Exigimos transparencia, paz, que dejen de reprimir al pueblo venezolano si ganaron limpia y justamente, y que también dejen a los observadores internacionales que hagan análisis y conteo de votos. Necesitamos transparencia en las elecciones presidenciales en Venezuela, y si no quieren tener transparencia, ¿a qué chingados le tienen miedo, hijos de...
Love that guy. And super babies and demons. It's why we don't make laws based on Game of Thrones, My Little Pony, or The Legend of Zelda. Turkish President Erdogan. Israel is not only a threat to Lebanon, Palestine, but the entire world. I think he misspelled Israel with the United States. We play the fool when we put atheism in the category of intellectualism. The same guy said that God gave us a tailbone to keep our intestines from falling out of our asses. So maybe you're the person to ascribe that label to. Whoa. I've been a nasty damn. Good Lord. Look. What? The weak ceasefire negotiations were taking place. They keep showing us they have no interest in peace, only total extermination and colonization. Let's fucking take it to them then, piece of shit. Oh shit.
That Twitter is mean. Okay? Like, he thinks that Twitter is mean. Okay? Wait until fucking Washington Post gets a hold of who Aiden Ross is, specifically to shit on Donald Trump.
God damn, bro. You are just jealous, bro. What are you? You gotta be 35 years old, bro. And you're such a... Bro, he's literally the biggest hypocrite. All his followers, they all just love his little, you know, the way he loves his political view, whatever the fuck it is. He lives in a $6 million crib. Okay? He lives in a $6 million crib. But he preaches that all Americans should make all the same amount of money. Man. I don't know.
I mean, bro, stop talking. Oh. Stop talking, bro. He sounds like a dumbass. Every time someone wants to get mad at me, the value of the house goes up. Yeah, that's true. No. Oh, what the? What's going on? The Chinese speed skaters fools everyone. Called. Oh, this isn't even this old. Bro. Oh, shit. What this fucker say? We gonna do it again in 2020, fool. These guys are maroons. Speaking of maroons. Yeah, I think it's great when people just keep talking online because you find out how fucking stupid they are. That's why I talk. That way I can see how stupid I am. That way I can correct myself. This guy's just showing everybody how fucking dumb he is. And then the same thing with Aiden Ross. Like, guy's a dumbass. What the hell is this? Sean Cheese and takes many of her photos. What the shit, bro? Cheese. She's kind of bad, bruh. She better be of age. It's kind of crazy, though. What's her name? Georgia Villa? And you know what she ate? Her or the cheese? I mean, she's hot. Oh, throwing a question mark cake on the pocket. Oh, I seen that. She was crazy. I've been in nasty times. She literally ended Trump's political career. Who's this? Oh, that's the actress. I don't care. Swag surfing? What? I remember people telling me when I called for Biden to step aside. Be a party of civil war. The Harris would be skipped by donors. That there was enthusiasm for Harris. How did that argument work out? I mean, people are dumb. Yellow. Fuck Call of Duty. Hard, bro. What the? Oh my gosh. Hey, yo. Like. What the? Bro, who needs to shut the fuck up? If he's saying that shit. Oh, damn. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. And I like how they try to help her too, you know? They're like, oh, I like this. All right. Dostoevsky in the streets, Kafka in the streets. I don't know what the fuck she's saying. How many spiritual guy checks up on me? Hey, dipshit, you good? Oh, look at this shit. Look at this motherfucker. Vinny Held already admitted to being paid by the U.S. backed. Oh my god, bro, this guy's so full of shit. Ugh. And he did it himself too. Okay. Without incident. Oh. And latest racist lie happened to turn black. What? Oh, I thought that was Kamala.
Claims about some of your rivals,
First of all, I
from
don't think
Nikki
I've
Haley
ever
to
asked
former President
questions such
Barack
horrible
Obama,
manner,
saying
say.
that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys.
Time somebody
You've attacked
gets on
black
his dick,
journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions
but then he's
that
like,
they ask
"Oh my
are,
God,
quote,
zoom in on his
stupid
face."
and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
Of course you do. And look at people cheering, bro.
I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that, and let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love
think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I
believe
have
that
answered
black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my
This guy's full of shit. Love him. Turns out China and Japan have the lowest percentage of doping violations. India has the highest. US, Canada, and Germany are higher than China. China, Germany, Russia receive most tests. Narratives are louder than facts and figures. Data source. World Anti-Doping Agency, the WADA. Samples percentage of violations. South Africa, damn. Oh shit. Mexico, no. Oh, damn. But look at the people. They get tested the most. Why is this? This report extensively documents systemic Israeli sexual violence and rape of Palestinian children, women, and men. And the AP only has one vague reference buried deep in the piece of abstract alleged sexual violence, but they launder the mass rape hoax with glee. All right. Oh, shit. BRB. Is it because we're recording? How, bro? Oh, this fucking guy, bro. How did my phone know? Huh? Regional. The world's next war. That was. Hello.
This is the house of
God
Mariana.
damn.
She's lived her whole life. There's a dog, Fidel.
Fidel Castro.
This is the kitchen. Muéstrame tu casa, pues. Yo no quiero mostrar tu casa.
What the hell? What's going on?
So this is where they store the water. This Mariani's cousins and uncles here in Ari. This is where we had a fiesta yesterday. Oh, as you can see, the bottle is empty. Sí, ese era lleno ayer. This is where we had the barbecue. Tomamos un selfie aquí.
Yo mostrando el barrio este.
This is the house of Mariani and her family. This is where she's lived her whole life. There's her dog, Fidel. Fidel Castro.
She's like. He was looking for to see if they had the VODs yet. Bro, how do you not have the VOD yet? God damn. Slow, bro. I don't want to watch that video. Iraq versus the West. You might watch this. Oh, shit. Is somebody gonna match Tumbo's freak? Tumbo freak. What the fuck? Yeah, where the fuck are they gonna go, bro? What? Tainted election. The Hassan did Schlatt win?
Become such a partisan hack.
As a matter of fact, Schlatt, I take offense to that. I'm not a partisan hack unless the party that you're speaking of is freedom, because I will be defending capitalism, the best economic organization of society that has ever been invented in the history of
Here he
mankind.
goes already.
But you wouldn't know anything about that because you're a dirty commie.
I get.
Socialist rule. One has to die, the earth or capitalism. I guarantee you it's gonna be earth. Because earth has been cursed. Earth. 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 Who started Israel versus Palestine? Palestine did. Let's watch this.
Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Podcast?
Today, a split decision in Venezuela.
They wanted to participate in what they said was the biggest demonstration of democracy so far in the past 10 years for them.
Both sides claimed victory in a contested presidential election. But would President Nicolas Maduro ever accept defeat? I'm Kevin Hurton, and this is The Take. After 2 terms and 11 years in power, the Venezuelan president faced his toughest contest yet.
His challenger is Edmundo Gonzalez, a 74-year-old former diplomat who has attracted significant support, drawing crowds of thousands.
Polls show him trailing challenger Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia by a large margin. Gonzalez was an obscure retired diplomat with no political aspirations until a coalition of opposition parties picked him as its candidate.
According to some polls, Gonzalez was taking the lead and set to win. But then,
President Nicolas Maduro has been declared the winner of Sunday's election. That's according to the country's National Electoral Council. Maduro suggested
immediately when that happened, around the area from where I was covering this news, just chanting erupted, yelling, screams, saying, "It's not true, that didn't happen."
Ana Herrero is a journalist based in Caracas, Venezuela. We spoke to her early the next morning on only a few hours of sleep, and she told us her election day story, one she experienced as both a journalist and as a voter. It's a day she won't soon forget.
I started covering the day at 6 a.m. and started as usual. People rushing to vote. Things moved very fast.
Ana was at an election center located in an area that's a traditional Maduro stronghold.
A voting center called Liceo Andrés Bello. And it is a very big school with over 14,000 voters.
As the day went on, the day started to get more and more tense. She started to hear reporting about irregularities.
We received information that witnesses were not being allowed inside of the voting centers and that people started making long lines to exercise their will and their right to vote. But then when the table started closing at 6 p.m., where the problems began.
People noticed that the opposition witnesses, who are legally allowed to observe the voting, were being barred from the building.
People started gathering, and they were chanting the national anthem. They were chanting to let them in. They wanted to count the votes. They wanted to participate in what they said was the biggest demonstration of democracy so far in the past 10 years for them. And all of a sudden, around 150 bikes start to appear in front of the electoral center. some dressed in red, which is the government's color, some dressed in black. We witnessed how some of these people on motorcycles, they jumped out of the motorcycle and started to walk toward this group of 50, maybe, and just very threatening. And it became pandemonium, just total chaos. This group then started punching another guy. Another elderly man tried to approach and he was hit, and with a gun, a guy took a gun, and with the back of the gun, he hit the guy in the head. The guy immediately started bleeding. They were pushed. Me, myself, got in the middle of that and received several hits. And well, my equipment was just basically destroyed, and my phone was safe.
Despite the violence, despite the chaos, the people stood up and wouldn't leave.
They took over the entrance. I've never seen this group of citizens, women, elderly women, young men, stayed there. They started chanting again the national anthem. They started chanting that they wanted to count the votes, and they started calling more people and people from around the buildings. They approached and made sure that they were together. And it was a very, very tense situation. I've witnessed how violence can just spread quickly in this kind of situations, but how the people stayed there, that was unbelievable for me.
So Anna, this is just an extraordinary story you're telling us. I mean, is this business as usual voting day in Venezuela, or is this something truly remarkable?
It's truly remarkable because of the context. The fact that after so many years of demonstrations against the government, hundreds of deaths, thousands of arrests, hundreds of political prisoners, millions leaving the country, and now more than ever, they stayed to count each and every vote. And I found that extraordinary.
Anna, can we just pull the lens back a little bit? In terms of the big question that most people listening to this want to know is, who won the election? And unfortunately, the answer is, well, it depends on who you ask, right? Can you tell us what both sides are saying about the results of this election? Maybe you can even start with the official results that have come in from the government.
Yes, of course. After midnight, just past midnight, the head of the Electoral Council announced that Nicolás Maduro had won the elections with...
I wonder how it's done. Well, how do they... I guess they could just say like, yep, we won. Ha. If you don't like it, go to jail or fucking kill you.
Over 51% of the votes. Around 20 minutes after that, the opposition spoke. The first one to do so was the face of the electoral campaign behind Edmundo González, María Corina Machado. She was supposed to be the main candidate, but then the government banned her from running.
He was almost an unknown when he became the opposition alliance's last-minute candidate after Maria Corina Machado, the winner of its October primary, was barred from public office over alleged fraud, which she denies. She has backed González and has appeared at his side at several stops on the campaign trail.
She spoke first and said that according to the numbers that not only they have, but that they can prove, Edmundo González won with 70% of the votes.
Wow.
So of course this is absolutely different one from the other. But at the same time, the government had Maduro dancing and thanking everyone for another 6 years in office in what he promised would be a time to recover that democracy.
Y puedo decir ante el pueblo de Venezuela y ante el mundo.
So one side claims victory with 51%, the other claims victory with 70%. The president is on television dancing and says, I won. The other side is saying, actually, we won. So people might not trust Maduro to run a fair election, right? But because of how the voting is done in Venezuela, it theoretically should be pretty obvious to identify outright fraud. Tell me about how the voting is done in Venezuela and why the opposition felt that it had a chance to overcome all the many, many obstacles the government threw at them.
That's actually the best way to describe it because it's very confusing. So yes, the voting system, it's almost flawless. The voting itself. So when you get inside of a voting station, a voting center, you activate a little machine. This is all automatized. And you activate this machine with your fingerprint. You get into the machine in front of it. No one has to be around you, of course. And then you push the button for your candidate. The face of the candidate will appear huge on the screen. And then you push again. So you have 2 opportunities to vote for your candidate, for the one you elected. And then the machine gives you this little receipt with the name. And that receipt is put into this box. And then you sign, and that's it. That's very quickly. I did so in maybe 45 seconds, even less. So here's the interesting part. It is not the voting itself. Actually, the opposition is saying that they have the votes, that they can count how many people clicked on Edmundo Gonzalez's face to vote for him. It is not that those votes don't exist or that the government is just twisting those votes. That is not the problem. The problem is that after everything happens, at 6 p.m., the voting centers close. And the witnesses, they have to stay there with the actual members of the voting table to count the votes. The machine is going to print what we call here actas. It's a certificate of how many people voted and who won on that table. If the witnesses don't have this receipt, this certification of how many people voted and who won, they can't say, yes, what you are saying, it's true. So from the beginning, the witnesses from Edmundo Gonzalez, who were supposed to be there to count the votes, they weren't allowed into many centers. But now what they're asking is the government should show the rest of this confirmation receipts, if you will, to tell the world who really won.
Yeah.
And that is something that we don't know if the government is going to comply or not.
How has the world reacted to this Maduro victory? That's after the break. Anna, look, the international community is taking note. Russian President Vladimir Putin has already congratulated Maduro on his victory, whereas the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has commented, "We have serious concerns that the results announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people." Here's my question. Is there anything that can be done to unseat Maduro, even if the evidence is overwhelming that he actually lost this election?
Well, the opposition is very clear and was very clear yesterday. Something that just, a quick note, it's also very important to say that the opposition didn't immediately call people to the streets to protest. They are very confident that they won, and they want to show the world, vote by vote, who won, and what they're asking from the government. They want to sit down and they want to count the votes, and they want to make sure that their witnesses have the actas, these ballots, and then they want to compare the numbers and just have a fully reviewed process. But even so, it is not Maduro's choice. It's the law.
Okay, well, it sounds like if the opposition truly did win the election, Maduro is going to be faced with a choice, whether or not to uphold the law and lose power or ignore the law and keep power.
It is definitely a political decision. This is something that many analysts and people inside the opposition and the government have said. I've had good conversations with many sides and many people with strong links to both sides. And they all said the same thing. This is going to be a political decision, not an electoral one.
There was so much hope leading up to this election. There was a unified opposition. They say a divided opposition is the autocrat's best friend. And this decision to bar Machado from the ticket really did seem to energize and organize the opposition in ways that I think probably took Maduro by surprise. But now waking up and seeing what's happened, I mean, what happens to all that hope? How are people feeling?
People yesterday, I can't say for sure because I haven't spoken to that many on the streets. But generally, social media, which is here for the opposition, you could see how things are going through social media. But there, people were just waiting. But this is something that many were expecting. Many. The actual problem, what you discussed weeks ago, the result of the elections or the outcome of the elections, the problem wasn't, what is Maduro going to win? Many people projected that he didn't have the votes. He doesn't have the support that he needs to keep another 6 years in office. The problem was not the math. The problem was, is he going to concede or not? And given, that to be the issue says a lot of how this government reacts and acts and what is happening right now.
What will you be looking out for in the days and weeks ahead?
Well, first, the response of the Electoral Council on whether the opposition is going to be allowed to count or not. And then the reaction of the international community, for sure. Many countries have said that they are not willing to recognize a new government of Nicolás Maduro unless they are certain that all the votes were being counted, whether this could be qualified as a fair and clean election or not.
This is a country that's been through so much pain over the past few decades, economic pain. You've seen some say 8 million Venezuelans leave. I wonder what it was like for you just as a Venezuelan to be there and watching your fellow citizens fight for democracy, both physically and I guess, spiritually.
Bro, everyone was sad. Everyone was crying. Like, there was not one video that I see of people being happy. I've seen people being happy in Israelis, but countless videos of people just waiting for the results and just crying their dicks off. My friends who are from Venezuela, también, they're just posting sad shit. And it sucks, bro. It sucks for them because they want to go home, but they can't. I mean, they can, but
I've been covering this country for the past 15 years. I've seen it all. But this is the first time that I see everyone uniting around one strong feeling of we can't handle any more of this. It is not a question of socialism. Is socialism better? Is capitalism better? This is not the issue now. It is just a matter of if we continue down this path, we're not going to survive. Yesterday, I saw something completely different. I saw families gather.
my thoughts are I don't know. He needs to. The thing is, the only choice for people is to vote for somebody who's U.S. backed, and I don't know. Let's say he has to be taken out by somebody else, like by another country, whatever it takes, borderline war. And then who gets put in his place? Somebody backed by the US, and then you kind of have the same thing, or it improves slightly, but not great. It's a lose-lose, man. Unless unless he I don't know, unless he does something business-wise with China, because China is known to help out countries. If China could help build infrastructure, do business with China, India. I think if they do business with those three countries, and Maduro isn't as corrupt, I don't know. You see what I mean? I don't know. It's a lose-lose.
Gathered, I saw young children, 4 or 5 years old, in the streets, voting with their parents, and knowing we need either to leave or to die here, trying.
And that's The Take. This episode was produced by Khalid Sultan and Chloe K. Lee, with Duha Mossad, Manahil Naveed, Veronique Ashaya, and me, Kevin Hurton, in for Malika Bilal. It was edited by Noor Wazwaz. Our sound designer is Alex Roldan. Alexandra Locke is The Take's executive producer. And Nay Alvarez is Al Jazeera's head of audio. We'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow. What's this fool saying?
Lost Medicaid or CHIP
Oh
coverage?
my God.
Healthcare.gov is here for you.
Where can we find a low-cost health plan?
What about a plan that covers doctor visits?
Emergency care? Prescriptions?
With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month.
What's the website again?
Healthcare.gov.
Time. Protesters longing for a political change and better living conditions were angered by Nasrallah's stance.
خطاب السيد ما بيلبي المطالب والتطلعات اللي الناس نزلت لاجلها. حزب الله موجود بهذه الحكومه. إذا كان مشارك أو ساكت عن الفساد واحد.
In August 2020, a massive explosion in Beirut's port sent a shockwave through the city.
I gotta pee.
Entire neighborhoods were leveled, and more than 200 people were killed. But when investigations questioned the role of senior officials in ignoring the threats that led to the explosion, Nasrallah hit back, accusing the judge leading the case of political bias and calling for him to be replaced. Tensions escalated, fueled by the anger of the victims' families who condemned the repeated suspension of the inquiry as an attempt by politicians to evade justice. It culminated in a day of deadly clashes in Beirut.
Iran cut aid to Hamas for standing with the Syrian opposition. Iran and Hezbollah's conduct in Syria is the reason why people hate Iranian-backed militias, but in light of recent events, more and more people open up to the axis of resistance because of the lack of their government's action. Yeah. Also, there's been a little bit of back and forth on that front, but like considering that Israel also aligned with the fundies in Syria and even offered them protective cover, whereas Hamas itself literally executed ISIS leadership or ISIS militants in their own that tried to operate within Gaza, shows you that those allegiances are only momentary and can change at any given moment, with the ultimate prize or the ultimate goal being the eradication of the apartheid. I mean, you know, it's pretty funny to think about people accusing me of being like a Bashar al-Assad supporter. When, you know, I have had a militant that worked within the YPJ on my broadcast and am good friends with him. You know what I mean? That's right. Racial Jake, baby. So
I hate when he does that, bro. He's too damn quiet.
how are you back to 40K while covering Palestine? It's because people are waiting for me to move away from this.
For the first time in years, people feared the country was heading towards renewed sectarian tensions. The pressure to limit...
We're going to finish this and then I'll go to Israel just said all-out war if Iran does retaliatory strikes. Oh, fuck it, we ball, baby.
All other victims of Revolutionary Guards as a terror organization, as it continues to lead and such as 2216 and 1701. Where are the condemnations of Hamas and their vile attack on October 7th? Where are the condemnations for Hezbollah and the Houthis
Still
and their
chirping
puppet
about
master,
this, bro.
the Islamic regime? Members of the council feign concern for a regional escalation, yet quake at the prospect of addressing the root of this escalation. I wish to cast your minds back for a moment to May 2nd, 2011. Then Secretary General Ban Ki-moon celebrated the termination of Osama bin Laden, describing it as a watershed moment in our common global fight against terrorism. He exclaimed his relief at the news that justice has been done to such a mastermind of international terrorism. Please, take a moment to reflect on this reaction just 13 years ago.
Interesting accent from the Israeli guy. Is it? From one apartheid state to the next, baby.
The only conclusion we may reach is that because it is now Israel...
From one apartheid state to the next, motherfucker.
to protect its citizens,
Oh, it's my
that the UN takes
it's my
issue.
favorite. It's
You
my
raise-
favorite fascism dick riders, okay? The guy who's like the apartheid is perishing in my home state. Where could I go?
driving the machinery of death and destruction that threatens us all. The blood of innocent children in Majd al-Shams and of the victims of the October 7th massacre and all other victims since then, the ceaseless rocket fire on Israeli towns, the ongoing plight of the 115 hostages still being held by Hamas tomorrow for 300 days, all trace back to Tehran's ruthless ambitions. We urge the...
Bro, this narrative doesn't even work in Israel anymore. Like, even Israelis are like, come on, dog. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? We need the fucking family members to come back home. Like, it's so funny that they're still trying to be like, Hamas could release all the hostages tomorrow if they fucking wanted to. It's like, no, dude,
they fucking
you
wanted
just
to?
killed the guy who was working on it. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why you're here at the emergency meeting at the UN Security Council.
International community to hold the Islamic Republic accountable for its crimes. The world cannot afford to cower before the Ayatollah's tyranny. We therefore demand that this council moves to condemn Iran for its continued support of regional terrorism and increased sanctions on Tehran. It must also list the Iranian Revolutionary Guards as a terror organization as it continues to lead and coordinate attacks across the Middle East and the world. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Israel for his statement, and I give the floor to the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic.
It's pretty funny that the Russian Federation is now the president of the UN Security Council.
Syria reiterates against the states of the region. Syria reiterates that an occupying entity cannot claim that they are defending themselves under Article 51 of the UN Charter.
There's nothing funnier than attacking the peace negotiator on Iranian soil and then turning around and being like, you know who we have to condemn here? Iran. Like, what? Hey guys, I know we came here to this emergency UN Security Council meeting because we did another oopsie in a long sequence of oopsies. But you know who's really responsible? Iran. Thanks, man.
Because of its apparent importance for Israeli security, we reaffirm that maintaining international peace and security necessitates for the American administrations to renounce their destructive policy and to cease to prevent the Security Council from shouldering its responsibilities and fulfilling its charter mandate. President. The Zionist entity has perpetrated this morning another crime, another terrorist aggression in Tehran, in Iran, which led to the martyr of the head of the political office of the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh. This assassination demonstrates the mentality of the occupier and is the Israeli response to what is called the Biden Plan, which is contained in your resolution 2735, which was submitted by the American delegation. Before that, the Israeli occupying entity had committed another terrorist aggression targeting a residential building in the south suburb of Beirut. This led to the martyrdom of several citizens, including one woman, 2 children, tens of people from this neighborhood is densely.
Oh my God, once again, chatters who are like, you have to watch this are terrible with their instincts on what is good content and what is not. Okay, let's finish
Hezbollah's power has been getting louder. The US and Gulf countries placed sanctions against the group's financing in a bid to curb its influence. But Nasrallah remained defiant.
نحن واحنا اعتدينا على السعودية ولا نحن هاجمنا السعودية.
Man, I feel like Israel hate being addressed as Zionist instead of Jewish. I mean, yes and no. It depends on who's listening. Internally, I mean, there is no, like, a lot of Zionists use Judaism as a shield. A simple defense mechanism.
هم كانوا شركاء في المؤامرة الكبرى وفي الحرب الكونية التي كانت تدمر المنطقة.
But depending on who you're talking to, if it's like a liberal Zionist, they will also yell at you for saying like, well, how dare you say Israel's actions are responsible for anti-Semitism increasing in the Western world and all around the globe. Like, Israel is not. Israel is completely removed from Zionism, or rather, not Israel. Sorry, Israel is completely removed from Judaism, and it's like, yeah, I know that, okay, but Israel, you should probably take that up with Israel. because they keep fucking saying they're doing this for Judaism. You know?
نحن كان لنا شرف أن نقف في وجه هؤلاء القتلة المتآمرين على بلدنا وعلى شعوبنا.
Everyone yells so much. I noticed that.
على دماء وأعراض الرجال والنساء في لبنان.
Fuck you.
With each crisis that befell
Everyone's so
Lebanon,
passionate.
Hassan Nasrallah was there to maneuver his
Like
party
U.S.
to
people don't
ever-growing
yell
power.
as
For 3 decades,
aggressive.
he amassed a political and paramilitary force no one could challenge.
They just don't give a fuck.
A hero to his supporters and a dangerous menace to his adversaries. Now, he faces complex challenges. A country in economic meltdown, tensions with political rivals, and growing international pressure on Hezbollah.
Today I'm going to show you how to create these.
Here's the Channel 12 update. Israel sent messages through diplomatic channels to Lebanon and Iran, where Israel says they are ready to go to the point of all-out war if Hezbollah and Iran respond in a way that will severely damage Israel, according to Israel's Channel 12. Israel's preparing for various scenarios, including the possibility of Hezbollah attempting to breach the northern border in response to the assassination. So the Channel 12 thing was actually a wrong translation. They're saying they are preparing for an all-out invasion of Israel, not that they're preparing for an all-out invasion of Lebanon. New details. What? Given that Netanyahu just returned from D.C. and that Israel's head of Mossad was meeting with Burns just 2 days ago in ceasefire talks, the impression is that either the U.S. was in on it or that Israel has deliberately betrayed the U.S. as well. Yeah, I mean, there's no other outcome here. Time with Anovo says, in December 1992, Israel tries to deport 415 Hamas activists to Lebanon. Among them, Ismail Haniyeh.
Bro, Israel acts like fucking like the little guy who has a bunch of like big Israel acts like the little guy who has big bodyguards protecting them at every cost, at all costs. They go around talking shit to people, expecting to get backed up by the bodyguard, which they do. They go and start shit with other countries. They bomb the fuck out of whoever the fuck they want, while the U.S. is like, yeah, go ahead. Fuck it, I don't care. We got you type shit. And then I fucking hate Israel, bro. That government. Like, I don't know what I can or cannot say, but just know it's not good.
Hard to speculate how hostage talks will be affected, Blinken says. Germany cautions all parties prevent regional conflagration. Russia warns of dangerous consequences. America doing the same thing that it's been doing so far, which is we will defend Israel. We will dick ride Israel. Israel can do whatever it wants.
Just what I was saying.
You guys need to shut the fuck up. How
so
dare
annoying,
you?
bro.
How dare you speak ill of our goats? Okay, they are the best. Literally the best. They're the greatest democracy on earth. They're the greatest country on earth. They're the most moral army on earth. Israel has also closed its airspace north of Hadera. There's a NOTAM, or a Notice to Airmen, issued by Israel's Aviation Authority this morning. Notice is valid for 24 hours and applies to all aircraft except for emergency flights by the military, police, firefighters, and medical evac. Ben Gurion Airport is unaffected by the closure as commercial flights generally do not fly north of Hadera to reach the airport near Tel Aviv.
If Iran does invade Israel in the next 24 hours, I hope to the fucking war gods that it gets something done, like kill a general, get a good hit on like their army bases. I hope, I'm being honest when I say I hope they don't kill too many, because I'm sure some are gonna die. I hope they don't kill any civilians, because that's not what you're trying to do. But the military, the generals, the important people, I hope they fucking take them out, bro. if they at least do, if they're gonna go down, because if they do, then maybe the U.S. is gonna fuck up. I don't know. I don't know what could happen, but if they do attack Israel, they better hit them good.
Disastrous maneuver just could continue conducting his all-out war and selfishly bring the United States of America into the fold. Just straight up. Only reason. There is no other reason. Like, yeah, U.S. moved its travel advisory to maximum in Lebanon. On July 31st, we raised the travel advisory for Lebanon to level 4. Do not travel for the entire country. If you are in Lebanon, be prepared for shelter in place should the situation deteriorate. Notice how they're not issuing the full-blown travel declaration to Israel. I mean, I guess maybe they are, but I don't think it's at this same level. Because only one side eats all the smoke. The other side will, the other side has obvious, the other side could obviously incur some wrath as well. But, you know. New Danny Gonzalez. Brother, I'm sorry. Are you on fucking crack cocaine? Like, actually, are you insane? Or is this like an elaborate ad break debate at the top of the hour? Why the fuck would I watch the new Danny Gonzalez when I'm currently reading out a level 4 travel advisory to Lebanon in the eve of like a potential fucking war in the Middle East? Like, you have to be on crack cocaine.
Bro, I said it once and I say it
bro,
again.
There's a new Danny Gonzalez video about tech products that shouldn't exist.
It'll be crazy that such a small place like Israel and Palestine, what happened October 7th, I've always said, like, I wonder if that small place in the world, that day, if it's gonna start, you know, potentially World War III. Now, that's not entirely far-fetched, but it's gonna, you know, like, this looks promising for a war, at least with Iran, Yemen, Lebanon versus Israel. But it's gonna be crazy that day, that small place on Earth, if it finally catches up to them. Hopefully it does.
Avoid seeing those ads unless you subscribe for $5 or for free.
All right, that's my cue.
No, it's not a low effort. Danny Gonzalez covers electronics that should not exist, like Pegasus technology from Israel. Yeah.
Maybe the question isn't if esports is.
Do I have in-stream? Oh, I don't.
Esports.
At least on this one, I don't have in-stream. But
work.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the Tumbo Jumbo broadcast. We will be live again tomorrow. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but we're gonna talk about something. All right, adios. Good day.